What's up, guys? How's it hanging? Hang on. This is just great. I don't know why everyone is overreacting to Yordle Explorer. Like, Battlesmith has been bad since beta. This card is just Battlesmith. Stop being knee jerky. Mo's honestly, Mo's not just funny. Mo's not just funny. Mo is a hero. He knows that in a world without Devogadus, right? Like, one man has to step forward because without hot takes, where would we be? Right? I think Mo is actually just five-heading this. Like, he knows that at a time when the Runeterra community needed him most, Dovagittus disappeared. And Mo stepped forward. Someone do the Avatar pasta.
Avatar.
Yeah. Someone do it with, like, when the world needed him most, Dovagittus disappeared. Because we need a Dovagittus right now, honestly. And Mo, I think Mo realizes that more than anyone, and has stepped forward to take up the mantle. God, man. Long ago, the 9 regions lived together in harmony. Then everything changed when Bandle City Yordles attacked. Only Dovagittus, master of copium, could stop them, but when the world needed him most, he vanished. A couple of patches passed, and the new master of copium was discovered, an influencer named Mo. And although his hot takes are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to convince anyone. But I believe Mo can save Runeterra. All right, this is a premium pasta. Holy, this is so good. This is so good. God damn it. This is honestly, I'm having a good time just going through these subreddit posts. Here we go. Yeah, what if? This is a good one. Here we go. Metas that get solved. Oh God. Wait. This was from, like, the initial interview. This was from, like, 2 years ago, Kuvira. You remember this?
Yep. Oh, okay. I do remember that. All right.
It's Andrew and Jeff talking metas that get solved way too fast and cards that stay broke way too long. So we asked ourselves, what if we could change all of that? 1,500 upvotes. That one deserves it. Oh, that one's good. That one's good.
I mean, this is probably the best meme, actually.
This is high tier. This is high tier. Someone you slash Cloud Drinker went through all. He went through the log, and he. This was actually perfect. This was probably the best thing that could have been posted. Premium. You know, and it doesn't take much effort. It just takes a little diligence and dedication, right? Because people overproduce their memes these days, right? You know, but this is just a very, very simple, hey guys, remember when? This is all it takes. This is great. Love Riot experimenting with these bold new card effects. Okay, here's one. It's getting upvoted as we speak. When I'm revealed, uninstall your opponent's game. Regress the countdown of your balance patch by 1. This is actually an interesting concept. This is not only a nice kind of, you know, social commentary on the idea of, like, where we are at as a game, where we are at as a meta, but it's also introducing some fascinating new keywords to the mix, right? Because regress in this case is actually like a reverse countdown. It just, like, lowers the countdown, which is a mechanic that would be interesting to see in this game, right? Like, there could be some kinds of landmarks that have, like, backwards countdown that you extend, right? Or, like, counters to certain things like Trundle Lysandra. There would be interesting ways to use, like, the regress keyword. So it's not just a good post, it's also an interesting and poignant take on ways new keywords could go. So here we go. This is it. Okay, the forest only reveals its secrets to the worthy. We got the Mourned. All right, we saw this card yesterday. The 1-mana 2/1 elusive Nexus Strike, recall me. That's what I like to see. This is the recall synergy package. Next up, Woodland Keeper. God damn it, guys. Calm down, guys. Woodland Keeper. 3-mana 3/2 Ionia. When I'm summoned, give me +1 and elusive this round. So it's basically like a huge Navoria Blade Scout. Like, you've seen Navoria Blade Scout. This is Navoria Blade Scout's big brother, right? It's just like a 3/4 elusive for the round. Like, actually just doubling the stats, which I'm into, you know? Maybe this will save the game. Pathless Ancient, 4 mana 4/3, cost 2 less if you've recalled a unit this round. I mean, that's interesting. We've seen a lot of 2 mana 4/3s conditional, like the Troll Scavenger and the one Investigator that people don't play. God Willow Seedling, 3 mana. When you play it, you recall an ally to summon an ephemeral copy of it, and every countdown 2, it summons another ephemeral copy of it. Huh. Whoa, that's actually really interesting. So, you're like, what? I mean, it does something on play, which is kind of cool, right? Like, it turns something ephemeral effectively. You get something back into your hand, and 2 turns from then, at turn start, it summons another copy of it. That's actually not bad. Like, I feel like there's a lot you can do with this, right?
It's very strong.
Yeah, it also, like, it triggers Rekindler if we're still on, like, the Karma Rekindler Copium. All right, next cards, we've got Memory's Cloak. A 3 mana fast Ionia. Pick an ally being targeted by enemy fast spells, slow spells, or skills with only 1 target. Stop them.
Excuse me?
So it's like somewhere between deny. It's like a deny Nopify. Instead of going by cost, it just stops 1 target on things. I mean, that's really interesting. I guess. Oh man, when would this be better than Nopify? Denypify? Yeah, it's kind of like Fizz's ability. Yeah, it's sort of like Fizz's ability. It's basically, it's a good counter to stuff like Thermo. Yeah, this one's interesting. I'd actually have to think about this a lot to know like when you would use it in decks. But sort of like Deny and Nopify, it's a very reactive card. So there will just be some metas where, I don't know how common it'll be, but there'll definitely be some metas where you use this, right? It's like a 3 mana deny for Lee. Yeah, it won't be able to deny stuff like, for example, you know, the big stuff. I almost just said Ruination, but people don't really run that, right? The fact that this is 3 mana instead of 4 is huge, though. That is like a really, really big difference. So I do think that this is often going to be better than normal deny. Like, what apart from Ruination even really makes a difference here? And then we've got Liminal Guardian, a 5 mana burst, epic, all right? And it just summons the Liminal Guardian. This is 9 lives. Liminal Guardian is not main deckable. It's a 3/2. When I'm summoned, summon a random 1-cost follower from your regions. When I'm recalled, I turn back into 9 lives. Ooh, so it's kind of like Concussive Palm. At burst, you can just summon a 3/2, and it also summons a 1-cost follower from your regions. So it's burst speed double attackers or burst speed double blockers, right? And this one's a fearsome blocker, which is really, really important. And it's a 3/2, and I apologize that my fat head was covering that for a second. Yeah. So basically, you burst it out, it can double block, including 1 fearsome block, because it's a 3/2. And if you recall him, then you can play it again. This is pretty interesting. It's sort of like Concussive Palm, except it has its burst speed, which is kind of nice, and it has some offensive potential. The fact that you can burst this out on offense for a 6 wide attack is something that Palm can't do, and that's a big deal. But I don't know if Ionia wants that kind of playstyle compared to Palm. I mean, what do you think, Kuvira?
I think it's very interesting. I think it will be better than Palm in some metas where the meta is like the enemies are going wide. I mean, we won't have that meta obviously because Yordles are bad right now, but so I do think when the enemy is going wide, this card is better than Palm because of the ability to block two units, especially against aggro, for example. The problem is that it doesn't stop Poppy from attacking. That's just a small example. But yeah, this card is interesting.
We couldn't make it through one reveal, Kuvira. We just couldn't do it.
Sorry, my bad.
People are comparing this to The Time Has Come. That is kind of fair. It is literally just kind of like a slightly better Time Has Come, right? What happened with this card? What did have to happen for this card to exist? The 5 mana burst summon 2/2/2s. this is basically like I saw someone in chat saying this is a worse the time has come, and it's like it's technically slightly better, but yeah, I mean this card basically can't really be good. Like it does have the recall synergy, and that is kind of important. Like if there's it's a unique card. I can see some archetypes that might want to play it, but unfortunately I don't think it's really quite on the power level. Like this probably could have been 4 mana actually, and especially because it has to compete for concussive palm makes this really hard. It's Clock Zodia support. It's an epic. Say no more. Yeah, that's true, guys. It is an epic. Honestly, with Legends of Runeterra, there's just sometimes you just don't need to read past the rarity gem. Like it's so funny. I think they said at one point that they were trying to make epics better, but god damn it, is it still so consistent every reveal season, every time to this day? Epics are just, like every time you see one they're just so bad. Oh
Well,
man,
at least they're consistent. That's a good one.
true. All right, so yeah, the most competitive out of these cards, I mean there's some good elusive options. God Willow Seedling actually looks good to me. This is a really weird card that I need to think more about, but God Willow Seedling is kind of spooky. And another thing about God Willow Seedling is this is going to activate instantly. It doesn't go on the stack, right? The recall an ally to summon an ephemeral copy of it. It's like Brightsteel Protector, where your opponent won't be able to respond to it with anything. It will just immediately at unit speed, but it'll resolve at like focus speed, right? So it immediately just does the thing undisruptibly, which is great. And the summon another ephemeral copy of it happens 2 turns from now, which is going to be really nice for like open attacks and like open blocks. Like this seems actually really powerful. But the big question is like, okay, I want to talk about Memory's Cloak, because evaluating this card, it does actually change a lot for like Lee Sin decks and other Ionia decks, right? So the question is, what are the big things that Deny will stop that Memory's Cloak won't, right? Like, what are you giving up for this +1 mana?
It's just generally just spells that don't target. Like for example,
Decimate.
the 10 mana cards. I mean, Decimate is an example. Like even Fervor, anything that targets the Nexus against aggro is actually pretty big, especially if you're playing Lee Sin.
It doesn't stop Field Rush. It doesn't stop any strike spell. Yeah, it can't stop single combat. It can't stop Concerted Strike. Rally effects. Yeah, it can't stop rally effects. Oh god. Oh yeah, no, there's a crazy amount this can't stop. It can't stop Static Shock. It can't stop Decimate, which is huge. I think one really big thing that people kind of underrate about why Deny is good, because Deny is a card that's been very good for a very long time. Don't get me wrong, it's been very overrated, and I've talked about it being overrated. But it has been competitive, and a really large part of the reason why Deny has been able to be good in Runeterra for as long as it has been is because aggro decks in Runeterra get countered by this card because of Decimate, right? And they basically always have. That's the crazy. This kind of design of card is normally supposed to lose to aggro deck because it's just like a blank against the deck that doesn't really do anything. But the fact that you can deny Decimate against like Noxus aggro is so huge as to this card's viability. Because when you compare it to this new card, Memory's Cloak, which isn't going to be able to stop Decimate, it can't even stop Noxian Fervor because that targets multiple things, right? And it doesn't target an ally. So even like Nopify can stop Noxian Fervor. So ultimately, I think that Memory's Cloak is just going to be left by the wayside. Like in a really specific meta, you definitely might still see it as like a one of in some kinds of decks, especially in tournaments. Like it is a card that exists in the pool.
Is Rito
it's
just
not going to take
giving
that
up
long
on the
for us
fate
to
tag?
see like random
Seemed like we had a few good targets with these cards.
But it's not going to be replacing Deny or Nopify anytime soon, which honestly is almost certainly for the best.
For sure. I mean, this card will see play in a specific meta where PNZ or Demacia are dominating, I think. Like Thermo, this can answer Thermo, for example. This can also answer, it does answer Concerted Strike, by the way, I believe.
Does it? It says with only one target? But Concerted Strike target has 3 targets.
Does it count the targeting on your side?
Well, we don't know, but I'm reading the words and it says it stops spells with only one target. And I mean, we know that cards like Noxian Fervor and Concerted Strike have multiple targets. Maybe it meant one ally target.
I think so, because of like how Ezreal is how Ezreal works, maybe, because I mean, Ezreal says enemy.
Yeah, Ezreal's enemy. I don't.
Yeah.
It activates Fated. Yeah, I don't see any reason why this would be able to stop a card like a Concerted Strike. Although, I mean, that is huge. We don't know for sure. We don't know for sure. The wording sucks. Yeah, it's very, very possible. Does it stop your own spells? No. It'll only stop enemy fast spells, slow spells, and skills. So,
or Ionia dominated because of Will and Concussive Palm.
Okay, wait. We have to figure this out. This is really, really important to the evaluation of this card. It can stop Memory's Cloak. Memory's Cloak can stop multiple spells and skills. So while that's true, you're not really going to precast the multiple spells and skills, right? And if you are, you're going to need each of them individually to go off to perform the function, which means that there's kind of no point in using this over, say, Deny, right? Like, people talk about that a lot when they're talking about evaluating cards like Rite of Negation as well, which is like, yeah, the ability to stop multiple spells and skills. This basically almost can't matter. It's like it would matter once every like couple thousand games or something like that. Really, really, really low odds. And the reason for that is because in Runeterra, you don't really cast multiple spells unless you have a reason to, right? That will matter sometimes through like Spell Shield. Like, you know, there will be cases where your opponent will cast multiple spells and they'll queue them up and you'll be able to be like, gotcha, Memory's Cloak stops both of them. But when you think about it, even after you realize those situations are rare, the thing that's really, really important is that if you look at those situations where they're casting multiple spells, that means they need both spells to go off for the cast to be able to accomplish anything on the board, any state of game change, because otherwise they wouldn't have queued both at once. Which means in those situations, yeah, you're saving the spell shield by stopping the additional spell, but you could just use Deny or Notify there, and you would also be stopping their entire action, right? Yeah, one of their spells will go off, and maybe that'll ping Spell Shield, or maybe that'll deal a bit of damage, but it doesn't matter because they've committed, and their play got countered, even if it has some remnant left. So, like, thinking about it like that is really, really important. Memory's Cloak is really not going to be very good. At the very least, if it works like how I assume it does against Concerted Strike and Noxian Fervor, who knows? I guess Fervor only really matters if they're fervoring your unit, which usually doesn't happen. But yeah, overall, today's reveals, I mean, I like the Mourned that we saw yesterday. God Willow Seedling seems sweet. I mean, like, okay, we actually have to think a little bit more about what combos we can do with God Willow Seedling. Like, I know it's a 3-mana landmark that it talks about recalling, but this card is so much better than Monastery of Firana, right? Like,
Monastery is underrated. Yep.
What do you think about this one, Kuvira?
I think it's actually really good with Palm. It's so good with Palm. If you still have the unit from Palm and you play it, you summon, you get a Palm back and you have the unit already summoned.
Yeah.
So what you do is, so what happens is you already have the dragon thing, the 3/2, and so they play something that would be, it's like another Palm. It's like a 6th Palm in a way, because you're stopping their development. You're getting your Palm back, and you have the unit on the board. So if they develop again, they get you can Palm again, and you get 2 units for that turn. It's double punishing for them. I think it works really well with Palm specifically.
This is single-handedly, Kuvira, this is single-handedly the biggest development punisher we've ever seen in this game. Because not only everything you're saying is true, like, you know, they're developing into an attack, and you're playing this, which is giving you the Concussive Palm in your hand, but also it's a countdown too, right? This is a really, really important part of this card's strategy, the fact that the countdown is an even number, right? So if you're using this on an offensive turn, that means you're going to get the ephemeral copy on your next offensive turn, 2 turns from now. If you use this on a defensive turn, on a blocking turn, you're going to get the other ephemeral copy 2 turns from now on your next blocking turn, right? And so it's interesting that you have to be thinking about it like that, and thinking about, okay, I'm gonna get another open attack blocker, something that also like makes their offense weaker 2 turns from now, right? I don't know. There's a lot there's a lot you can do with this card. I actually really am kind of excited for this recall synergy archetype. I mean, we haven't seen Ari yet, so we don't know exactly how it's going to work. But I will say, the Mornd looks pretty cute. God Willow Seedling looks strong. Like, probably the strongest card here for sure. And we already know that like some of the Kennen package is definitely looking pretty sweet. It feels like there's a lot. It feels like there's a lot we can actually do with God Willow Seedling, right? Especially, I mean, God Willow Seedling is going to be really, really good for anything that has summon triggers, right? Because it's very similar when you compare it to, let's say, Go Get It. It's pretty similar to Go Get It, right? It costs 2 less mana, and obviously it's not at fast speed, and you get the second copy 2 turns from now instead of on the same turn. It just costs 0 and you can play it on the same turn. But it's really similar to a 3 mana Go Get It, right? And even for being slow speed, that has a lot of upsides with that just like ridiculous level of discount, right?
Yep.
So basically, anything that you're looking to trigger summon effects for is going to be pretty good with this, right? So any like big summon effect. And what we can point to actually is the new card that got revealed, I think at the very almost at the very start. I'm going to scroll down to see where it is, but the 5 mana 1/1 that I can't remember the name of, this one, Risu the Silent Storm, right? So when we were talking about Risu the Silent Storm, one of the problems with this card originally was the idea of, well, it's got 1 health, so it's going to be hard to recall because most recalls are fast. And if you try to recall this, they'll Mystic Shot it and you won't get the recall off. Well, this is a really, really important synergy because this new card, the God something monastery, the one we're literally talking about. Oh my God, it's not loading on Mobilitics.
Oh no,
it's a disaster. But yeah, this new card, again, it recalls instantly, right? It recalls at speed that they can't react to. So let's say you play Risu on turn 5, you know, it summons the Storm Cloud, it's a 7/3 impact, and then on turn 6 you play this monastery, right? If you play this monastery on turn 6, then you're getting a second Storm Cloud immediately, right? Because it'll trigger the summon effect, and then 2 turns from now you'll get a 3rd Storm Cloud that can actually be pretty scary, right? It's really good with Thunder Fist too. Yeah, this other card, Thunder Fist, as well, makes a lot more sense now too. Which one was Thunder Fist? I think that was that before Kennen came out? Wait, am I stupid? I swear Thunder Fist was one of these. All right, I think I am stupid. But yeah, it's really, really good with the Thunder Fist one too, I think. Is it? It's the transform one, right? I'm trying to remember what these cards actually do. Oh, it actually was before. Oh, yeah, this one. Because, yeah, the Thunder Fist would basically just, like, transform into more of these. So, yeah, that's how this card was designed. The landmark here is basically meant to be the staple that kind of ties this entire archetype together, right? Man, it looks pretty scary. Like, any big summon effect.
I think the main difference between this and so the problem with Herna is its effect is really strong. Getting like the spell to recall a unit every time is actually very, very strong. It's very good. The problem with that card is that when you think about it in this current meta and in multiple other metas, you don't have time to have an empty turn on turn 3. Like if you play this and they play Ziggs, you kind of lose. If you play this, they play anything really. You're too behind on tempo on the board and you kind of just die. And the good thing about this card is it's not, the most important thing is that it's not bricked in aggro against aggro. Like even the worst, the floor of this card is like you're gonna summon a copy of a 1-drop or something, and then it's gonna get summoned again in 2 turns. Yeah. It's not bad. Like it's a unit at worst, which is not the case for Hirana, which is why like Hirana hasn't seen play and probably won't see play, especially because this card is available now. But yeah, that's the biggest difference.
Exactly. I mean, for this card to be good, you will basically need to use it on something with a summon ability. But it will allow you to trigger the summon ability literally 3 times because it recalls it one more time. The ephemeral copy comes out immediately. You can play the recalled copy from hand later, and 2 turns from now it summons another ephemeral copy. This literally says triple up the summon ability of another unit, right? And that's why we're combining it with cards like, yeah, like there's Thunder Fist, and yeah, there's cards like Risa, but also cards like Tornado Warrior if we're on enough copium. I mean, this is kind of like the perfect curve, right? Like you Tornado Warrior on turn 2, and then you can use this on turn 3 if you really want to just like turbo this out, which is kind of cute. Unfortunately, you know, it doesn't summon an exact ephemeral copy, so I don't know if it'll it wouldn't work with some of the stuff that Go Get It works with that goes for exact copies. But there's a lot of cute summon triggers. Is there
Katarina?
Yeah, what?
Wait, don't laugh. Why are you laughing? Katarina doesn't lose that.
Worker? Chilean Sumpworker? Wait, Kuvira, don't laugh. Wait, what about Chilean Sumpworker? Okay.
No.
So you need to. Why not?
Okay, no, I'll let you speak. Go ahead.
Okay, so you need to play both Chilean Sumpworkers on the board at the same time, right? So it would have to be. Ooh, the mana.
What?
Oh yeah, no, that's weird. How would that work? So if you Chilean Sumpworker on turn 2, you can't play this on turn 3 because then you won't have a second one on the. You can't, and on turn 4 you don't have enough mana to play both of them. So it's a turn 5 line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
No, that doesn't sound good. Is there maybe like some kind of mana discount you can do? Like, ooh, yeah, no, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good. All right.
Yeah, that would require a third region. What do you think about Pathless Ancient? I'm really interested in your take on this one.
There's got to be more. Hang on, I feel like there have to be more summon triggers for like 2-cost units, right? Think about hired, like Mirai Warden, you'd be able to get like a crazy amount of value, right? I feel like this temple is kind of insane. Like the floor all you need to do is use it on something that has some good summon trigger, and it's insane. You're tripling up the summon trigger, like that has to be super abusable. There's so much you can do with that in terms of like, especially like curving into it, like something you play on turn 2 into this as well. Like,
okay, hear me out.
Yeah.
Okay, don't laugh.
Yeah, it's a safe space, Kuvira. Safe space.
I think, okay. I mean, if you bully me for this, I think you're the one who can't bully me for this. Hear me out.
Yeah.
This card in Ionia Poros.
Why?
Because you
I'm trying to hear you out.
Yeah, I'm trying to hear myself out too. You summon another, like the sad Poro, and then you get another so you summon the sad Poro on turn 1. On turn 2 you do whatever you want, okay? And on turn 3 you summon this, you summon the copy of the 1-drop, so you get another Poro. And then on 2 turns, you get another Poro, which is like, when you think about it, like 4 Poros.
Yeah.
Isn't it better than Borealis or whatever?
All right. I mean, it's better than Borealis. Okay, Kuvira. As a Poro expert here, I actually do like some aspects of Ionia Poros. I like that River Shaper can be used to draw us Poro snacks if we cut down on other spells. That's a great thing. Unfortunately, Poros are so... I think Poros are literally more dependent on PNZ than they are on Freljord, Kuvira. Like, Poros is literally a PNZ archetype. You can, like, Poro Cannon, Daring Poro, and Patched Poro Bot are the only reason any of this works. So unfortunately, it really wouldn't be good. It's no good. But yeah, overall, I really like the idea of God Willow Seedling. I think there's a lot to play around with that one. So I'm looking forward to messing around with that one. The Mourn for some of the elusive counterparts. And yeah, I don't think too much else here is going to be good, but the Recall Archetype is actually looking like a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll be able to play it without seeing just too much Yordle Swarm on ladder in the first couple of days. But yeah, that's the initial impressions, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Ari reveal. That's the YouTube cut. Bad.